So welcome back to another video on the channel, guys. We've had another absolutely bonkers week in the Championship. We will be discussing all of Friday's games, and as you can see on screen now, that is how the table is now lining up. Once again, we've had Sheff Utd and Leeds switch around. They're now level on points, and only goal difference separates the two. And we got a lot of stuff to talk over in today's video. We had some absolute screamers scored this weekend, some really odd results, and as well as that, in the second half of the video, I'll be giving you guys my Easter Monday score predictions, which I'll leave in the description down below so that you guys can also leave them in the comments. Before we do get into any of the games, I will include your guys' comments on screen now. So if any of you did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions, then fair play. I managed to get one of mine correct this weekend. That was the Middlesbrough against Stoke game, so not too bad going from me. But apart from that, let's hop into talking about this weekend's action. So starting things out with Bristol City going up against Reading, this one finishing as a 1-1 draw. Going into it, I didn't think that Reading would give Bristol City an easy ride, and they certainly didn't do that for this one. Despite Reading being fairly near the bottom of the table at the moment, their recent form and performances wouldn't suggest a side who is battling down there for relegation, and if they do manage to keep hold of a number of these loan players going into next season, who knows what's possible for them. But it was the home side who had the better of the first half, the best chance probably coming from Josh Brownhill as he had an effort cleared off the line, but it was Reading who struck first in this game, with Yaku Mete, the player on form for them at the moment, putting them one goal ahead. That's now 4 goals in his last 3 games. Bristol City had to react after that. A lot of their chances were coming from sort of in-swinging balls coming into the box. Martinez had to be kept on his toes for the majority of the second half, although eventually Bristol City did force their way back into the game, with Josh Brownhill popping up at the far post and making it 1-1. What's interesting looking at Bristol City's next 2 games, they're against Sheffield Wednesday and Derby County. You really feel as if those 2 games are going to be decisive, really, in whether Bristol City do go on and make the top 6, whereas Reading now find themselves 5 points above the relegation zone, and I'm thinking now that Reading are all but secured for their safety for next season. A few more points from their last few games will do, but at this point in time, Reading are looking good at the moment. And then we had Sheffield United beating Forest by 2-0, and what a monumental 3 points that could be in the race for automatic promotion. I have to apologise to United fans, because last week I was suggesting that maybe they were out of the race for the top 2 after dropping points against Millwall, but they've come back strong in this one. Probably the game-changing moment of this game itself was the red card for Benali Uwain in the second half. David McGoldrick running in on goal. Benali Uwain sort of sticks a leg out. McGoldrick goes over it, and the ref was pretty swift in getting out his red card. I can see an argument maybe it could have been given as a yellow with some Forest players getting back into cover, but the red card was given, and from that point onwards, Sheffield United were always going to dominate proceedings. Duffy scored a fantastic goal in the 51st minute, and then after a nice slick counter-attacking move, Stevens finished the game off to make it 2-0 to United. The result has left Nottingham Forest in the bottom half of the table now. They're now down to 13th, and the situation around Martin O'Neill at the moment, I myself would be very surprised if he's still the manager there next season. But about Sheffield United, their destiny is now back in their own hands. They are level on points with Leeds at the moment, but they do have the superior goal difference, and for the last 3 games of the season, this is going to be incredibly intense, and I cannot wait to see who comes out on top. What a weekend it was for Sheff United. And then we have Millwall drawing 1-1 with Brentford. Quite a bit of drama going on in this game, with a red card being shown in the first half. Millwall took the lead through Lee Gregory. If there's one thing you want to look out for when you're playing Millwall, you have to be set up correctly from set pieces. Millwall got that goal from a corner. Bit of sloppy defending from Brentford, really. They had a couple of occasions to clear the ball, but in the end, Lee Gregory was there at the far post to snatch Millwall ahead. But then Brentford come back into it with an absolutely fantastic strike from Josh De Silva, and on any other game week, that would probably win the goal of the week, because it was absolutely fantastic. He was in an acre of space in the centre of the pitch, just pinging it into the top corner with a fantastic finish. However, just 15 minutes later, Brentford then found themselves down to 10 men. A long ball came over the top from Millwall. Dalsgaard was put in a bit of an awkward situation. He was chasing the Millwall player, looked to sort of lunge into him with his shoulder. The Millwall player went over, and Dalsgaard was given a straight red card. Despite being down to 10 men, it was probably Brentford who had the better chances in this one to go on and win it, really. Sergi Canos looked to be their most creative player going forward. I was a little bit surprised that he came off as early as he did, because he was central to a lot of what Brentford were doing good going forward. But it finished as a 1-1 draw in the end. This result leaves Millwall 3 points above the relegation zone. However, with their superior goal difference over Rotherham, that's pretty much a 4-point gap they have at the moment. And a really dramatic game between Birmingham and Derby, finishing as a 2-2 draw. A lot of action packed into this one. It was Birmingham who took the lead after just 2 minutes. Lucas Djukovic, the ball coming from a corner, as Djukovic managed to outdo Keogh at the far post. However, just 5 minutes later, Derby managed to respond. A fantastic goal from Martin Waghorn. Quite simple, really. The ball coming over the top, the Birmingham defence was caught out. Lee Camp, the Birmingham goalkeeper, was sort of caught in 2 minds whether to stay on his line or go. He sort of did neither and was in between, and Waghorn brilliantly chipped the ball over him to make it 1-1. Birmingham's second goal came from another corner. The follow-up was put in by Morrison before Keogh made it 2-2 for Derby just before half-time. One player who I thought had an outstanding performance from this one was Derby County's left-back, back, Ashley Cole. When he signed for Derby, I have to admit I wasn't really convinced. I thought it would be another player who's past it coming into the Championship. Physically, I didn't think that he'd be up to it anymore, but what an immense performance he put in today. He got the assist for the second goal and defensively came up with some absolutely crucial blocks in the second half. Tomori had a brilliant chance to win it for Derby, but Lee Camp just about managed to keep that one out, and 2-2 was how this game did finish. A bit of a frustrating one for Derby. It does leave them 3 points off the top 6, but they do have a game in hand on Middlesbrough still. And in the game which has confirmed Bolton's relegation down to League One, losing 2-0 against Aston Villa will be meaning that they will be playing in the third tier of English football next season. I know that all the Bolton fans have been expecting this day for the past few years really, but it is sad to see nonetheless. In terms of the game itself, it didn't really get going up until the second half when Jack Grealish managed to give Villa the lead, his 6th goal of the season now, and he turned provider for the second one. A brilliant ball over the top from John McGinn into Jack Grealish. Grealish just looping the ball past the goalkeeper, and then Tammy Abraham was there to make it 2-0 to Aston Villa. It was a fairly routine win for them in all circumstances, but that is 9 in a row now, which is absolutely staggering. Going into the playoffs with that sort of momentum, Villa have to be considered the favourites going into the playoffs, you know, with that squad they've got at the moment and with the way they're operating. It is going to be a cracking end to the season though, and in terms of Jack Grealish, he's now got 6 goals and 6 assists. I believe that since coming back from injury, no one has a higher average match rating in the league than Jack Grealish, and there's absolutely no chance he'll be playing Championship football next season. Whether he'll be in the Premier League with Villa or not, I'm not sure, but he can't be playing in the Championship another year. And then the result which no one saw coming, Wigan beating Leeds United away from home by 2-1 after playing the majority of the game down to 10 men. This game had absolutely everything, and how Leeds didn't win this, I'm not so sure, but it has been games like this throughout the season which could go on to cost Leeds automatic promotion. You know, thinking back to games against the likes of QPR, Stoke City, against Birmingham, and now this one. So many winnable games have passed Leeds by, and that really is what could go on to cost them. But fair play to Wigan Athletic for what could be the best result so far this season actually. Kipri was shown the red card for Wigan on the 14th minute after he kept the ball out of the net with his hand. Pablo Hernandez stepped up to take the resulting penalty, however he couldn't convert it, tried to place it in the bottom corner, but that ended up coming off the post. However, Patrick Bamford not too long after that managed to give Leeds the lead, and the roof absolutely came off at Ellen Road. But Wigan, with one of the worst away records this season in the league, managed to come back, and Gavin Massey scoring both goals, the first before half time and the second coming in the 62nd minute. Wigan even had the chance to get a third in the second half when Reece James hit the crossbar from a free kick, but just look at the match stats from this game. Leeds having 77% possession and 36 shots in this game, and that has been a little bit of a trend throughout Leeds this season. You know, they've not really had too many games where they've completely thrashed teams. They do tend to create a lot of chances per game, but it takes quite a few chances for them to eventually go on and score. And of course the result now leaves them 3rd in the league on goal difference. It is going to be a fascinating end to the season now, but looking at Leeds' fixtures, they really can't slip up anymore. In terms of Wigan, that result leaves them 5 points above the relegation zone, and what a massive 3 points that could be, and really should see them safe for next season. And then we have Middlesbrough beating Stoke by 1-0. The result sees Middlesbrough in the playoff spots going into Monday's fixtures. The only goal of the game coming just 2 minutes into it, British Sombolonga getting on the score sheet once again. He seemingly has come back into the form towards the end of the season now, but it sort of paints a picture looking at the stats for this one. Only 3 shots on target between both sides for the entirety of this match. Stoke got into some decent positions, you know, they were swinging quite a lot of balls into the box, however nothing was really going on target. A lot of things just going wide or just going over the bar. It just wasn't their day going forward for this one. It was quite a typical Pulis and Burr performance so far this season to take the lead in this one and then just to look to shut the game down. And despite Middlesbrough finding themselves in the top 6 at the moment, they've actually scored less goals this season than Rotherham have, who currently find themselves in the relegation zones. It really has been a strange season for Borough so far, but if they do manage to get into the playoffs, could you imagine if they got promoted? It would be absolute madness. It was another frustrating afternoon for the away side though, and the result keeps them 16th in the table. And then we have Preston beating Ipswich by 4-0. This one did have a little bit of that pre-season sort of feel about it, with neither side having anything to play for, but in the end it was quite a comfortable afternoon for Northern, with Ipswich not really offering much in this one. Callum Robinson and Lucas Metcher both scoring braces in this game. It was nice to see Callum Robinson back scoring goals at Deepdale after recovering from his injury. Both goals were superbly taken as well. The first one a nice swivel on the edge of the box and then bending in past Bilkowski, the goalkeeper not even moving for that one, and the second one absolutely fantastic. Takes a brilliant touch on his knee and just volleys it in, and it loops into that far post. And then the second half was where Lucas Nemecha wrapped up the game for North End with him scoring 2 goals, Callum Robinson assisting one of them as well. This season Callum Robinson has averaged a goal every 150 minutes, and for a winger that is an absolutely exceptional statistic, and it just makes you think what would have been possible for North End this season had he not got injured. Ipswich weren't really offering much for this one. Their best chance came through Kane Jackson, who hit the crossbar in the second half. In fairness to Ipswich, they were trying to play some some decent football. It wasn't as if they were just playing route one, lumping it up. They were trying to play out through the back, trying to get those transitions through midfield. It's just they didn't really have that much quality in there today. And then we had Blackburn beating QPR by 2-1. QPR's result last week, a 4-0 victory over Swansea, all but secured their championship status for next season. They're 8 points above the relegation zone with 3 games to go now, so unless Rotherham win all their remaining games and QPR lose all their remaining games, then they should be safe for this season now. But it was Blackburn who had the better of this game. Danny Graham giving the away side the lead from the penalty spot after the goalkeeper had guessed the right way. The ball just managed to squirm under him. And then soon into the second half, Bradley Dack gave Blackburn a 2-goal lead. There were some nice passing moves between Dack and Armstrong throughout this game, and Blackburn at the moment, I have to give credit to them, they're on a really good run at the moment. They've won their last 3 matches now and are looking to end the season as strong as possible. QPR did get a goal back in the 92nd minute through Matt Smith, a really nice assist coming from Luke Freeman, but Blackburn claimed another victory which has lifted them up to 14th in the table. And then we had Swansea beating Rotherham by 4-2, a result which really could damage Rotherham's season and their chances for survival now, as they are 3 points adrift of safety. After Swansea's game against QPR last week losing by 4-0, I always had the feeling that they want to bounce back in this one, and if there is any side in the league who can open you up when it is their day, Swansea are that team. They can be ruthless going forward. Rotherham took the lead in this one. Ollie McBurney got the home side back into it. However, Rotherham got a goal before half time and went in at 2-1. In the second half was where Swansea probably got away from Rotherham a little bit. They made it 2-2. The third goal was a bit controversial. The Rotherham players were adamant that there was a handball in there. The referee wasn't interested. The goal stood, and it's key decisions like that which can go on and have serious consequences. Swansea got their 4th goal before too long. Will Vokes got a fantastic one to bring it back to 4-3. However, Rotherham couldn't find the equaliser, and 4-3 was how this one did finish. It was a nice way for Swansea to bounce back, but a devastating result for Rotherham. And looking at where they are now with 3 games to go, looking at the fixtures they have left, it's going to be a real struggle for them to stay in the league. But hey, I said that about Sheff United last week and getting second, and with how unpredictable the championship is, anything is possible. But that is a real blow for Rotherham this week. And a bit of a funny game between West Brom and Hull City. West Brom winning this one by 3-2. It was Kieran Gibbs getting the only goal of the first half, but it was the second half when this game really burst into life. Todd Kane got 2 goals for Hull City in this one, but Sam Johnson for West Brom really didn't cover himself in much glory. Sam Johnson's been a player who I don't think's been particularly good so far this season for West Brom, and that surprises me because last season for Aston Villa I thought he was absolutely excellent. His time in the Championship before that with my team Preston, I've always thought he was a very capable keeper, but something about him just seemed off this season. Todd Kane, the first goal coming from a drive outside the box, it was a decent hit from the right back, but you know, Johnson had enough time to react to it. The second goal coming from sort of a cross looping into the top corner, once again Johnson probably should have done better with that one. Luckily for West Brom though, they do have goal scorers going forward, and Dwight Gale is that man banging form at the moment, and I know a lot of people are probably fancying Villa to win the playoffs with the form that they're on at the moment, you know, winning 9 games in a row, but with West Brom having a goal scorer in there like Dwight Gale, anything's possible when you've got a player of that calibre. His brace in the second half meant that West Brom claimed all 3 points from this one, beating Hull by 3-2, and the result keeps them 4 points above Aston Villa in 4th for the time being. And then to round off, we had a game which had almost everything as Norwich drew 2-2 against Sheff Wednesday, with Kieran Westwood getting injured for Wednesday in the warm-up for this one. Cameron Dawson had to step in, and he had to pop up with some big saves to keep Wednesday in it at times. But it was Norwich who took the lead through Marco Stiepermann, but wow, did Sheff Wednesday respond. Fernando Forestieri, I know he's been out for the majority of this season, but when he is fit and fully firing, he has to be one of the most effective attackers in the league, and he came up with an absolutely outrageous equaliser. Arguably the goal of the season, to have the audacity to take a shot on from where he did, about 30-35 yards out, arrowed it into the top corner. There was more controversy in the second half though, with Sheff Wednesday's second goal scored by Stephen Fletcher. Tim Krul had just about got the ball under control. Fletcher was diving in, and then, I mean, he basically scoops the ball into the net with his hand. I'm not sure how the referee or linesman didn't see that one. It was blatant when you do watch the replay, and Norwich, probably quite rightly so, will feel very hard done by that. But this is Norwich City, and they are quite accustomed to dramatic late goals, and Mario Varancic was on call this time with a 97th minute equaliser from a free kick. Brilliantly taken, looped into the top corner past Dawson, and the result keeps them top of the table, 5 points above Sheffield United and Leeds at the moment with 3 games to go. But guys, there you have it. There were all the games that went on Friday, so do let me know in the comments down below, what did you make of all the fixtures? In terms of my result of the weekend, there could only be one. Of course, it's going to go to Wigan Athletic. And then for my goal of the weekend, once again, there is only really one contender. There were some superb strikes scored this weekend, but realistically, it has to go to Forestieri. So do let me know in the comments down below, what did you make of your team's performance? But we will now move on into my Easter Monday score predictions. So for tomorrow's score predictions, all these games will be listed in the description down below so that you guys can go ahead and make your predictions. Aston Villa going up against Millwall, 10 consecutive wins would be a remarkable achievement, and surely that's got to be some sort of record in Villa's history. I'm going to back them for a 2-1 in that game. game, I think. Blackburn going up against Bolton. Blackburn have been very impressed by lately, playing some good football going forward. I'm going to fancy them for a 2-0 home victory over Bolton. Derby against QPR, maybe a bit of a tricky one. Derby defensively can be caught out a little bit, but at home lately they've been looking very impressive. For that game, I'll fancy Derby for all 3 points with a 2-1 home victory. Hull going up against Sheff United has absolutely huge stakes now for the away side, and I will back them for a slim 1-0 away victory. I don't think there'll be much in that game. Hull at home especially can be really tricky customers, but Sheff United need 3 points in this one. Ipswich going up against Swansea, I'll fancy the away side for all 3 points with a 3-1 away victory. I think that if they are on form going forward, they could cause quite a lot of problems for this Ipswich side. Forest against Middlesbrough, probably not going to be the prettiest encounter this weekend, and with everything going on at Forest at the moment, I'm probably just about going to fancy Borough for a 1-0 away victory. Once again, I don't see all too many chances being created in that one, but Borough at the moment seem to be on the better form. Reading against West Brom. West Brom scoring a lot of goals recently, but I don't think that Reading will give them an easy ride in this one. At home lately, they've been looking very impressive. Got a good result this weekend as well, so I'll fancy that to finish as a 2-2 draw. Rotherham against Birmingham is a huge game in Rotherham's season, and they need 3 points in this one if they want to have any hopes of survival, really. And with the home side backing them, I'll just back them for a 2-1 home victory, although Birmingham have been looking very good recently, but Rotherham just need it more than they do. Sheff Wednesday against Bristol City, I can't separate those two at the moment. I'll say a 1-1 draw. Sheff Wednesday played some decent stuff against Norwich. Stoke going up against Norwich, I'll probably fancy the away side to get back to winning ways in that one with a 2-0 away victory. Wigan going up against Preston could be a bit of a feisty one. With how well Wigan did on Friday, I'm thinking maybe their players might be a little bit drained having to play so long, down to 10 men against Leeds. It was a fantastic performance in that one. I think this one may finish level. I'll say it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. Preston got back to winning ways against Ipswich and we're looking much better going forward. And then as the later kick-off, we've got Brentford going up against Leeds United. What a game this could turn out to be. Leeds' record at Brentford I don't believe is very good, but let's be real, they need to bounce back from that awful result they got against Wigan. So I'll say 2-1 Leeds, but that one could really go anyway with how inconsistent Brentford can be, but how good they can be at times going forward. That one's on a knife edge. I'll say 2-1 Leeds, but anything could happen in that one. But guys, there you have it. There are my score predictions for I think it's going to happen in tomorrow's games. So let me know down below what you think of that. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.